So what is self-awareness? Daniel Goleman, who's considered like a guru, so to speak, of emotional intelligence, identifies self-awareness as being made up of the emotional awareness, accurate self-assessment, and self-confidence. In other words, it's all about knowing your emotions, your personal strengths, and your weaknesses. For me, it was understanding my strengths, my weaknesses, my passions, my talents, my motivations, my role in the organizations that I've worked with and the teams I've been on. When I felt good about my work, when I felt fulfilled, all the things that helped me to feel like a good teammate, a good leader, a good assistant, a good person. In high school soccer, I led my team in assist. In high school hockey, I also led my team in assist. I didn't score a whole lot of goals. I don't remember how many goals I scored. I just know it wasn't many. But I remember the assist. I don't remember the exact number. Actually, I think maybe it was like 22 or 23 was my high school assist in soccer. I don't remember. Well, it doesn't matter, right? I don't remember the number of assists, but I remember how I felt when I placed that cross perfectly for Brian to lay the header and put in a goal. Or the way I used my soccer skills on the ice, kicking passes with my skates to set up one-timers. I figured out pretty early that I actually liked being the assister. I didn't mind being the person who put in the assists, and I started to learn that about myself. I liked being a coach because I didn't need to be the person on the field. I could be the one who coached. When I was younger, I was also in a band. I was the lead singer. I was the front of the band, right? The face of the band. And after that band broke up, I had already started my own record label. And that label had grown decently in the local regional area. And we were known in the scene, or at least our artists were known in the scene. Prior to the label, I used to actually get recognized a decent bit for being in the band. In the local area, people would recognize me as the lead singer of the band. And I remember the first time that someone basically walked through me to go say hi to the lead singer of one of the bands on my label because they recognized him, not me. And that was the moment I realized that I didn't mind. I actually loved it. I loved the idea that I helped him create and chase this dream that he had and actually to be there and to be the person that was recognized. I loved that assist. A little bit later in life, I became assistant manager at an Arby's restaurant. I was the person in that restaurant that people came to when they had problems, when they had complaints, when they're trying to figure things out. But I was also the person that my manager leaned on to help train and grow our people on our team. I assisted the manager in helping support our team. I assisted our team in helping them find out how to use their strengths inside our business. Throughout my life, I have realized and become very self-aware that I don't need to be the face of anything. I don't need to be the goal scorer. I don't need to be the manager. I enjoy the assist. I enjoy the support. I just want to be a part of it. One day when I was at Arby's working, my manager stopped me, pulls me aside, and he said, "I think I figured you out." Of course, your manager says that. What do you think? Oh, crap. What did I do, right? He goes, "You're a connector." He said, "You love connecting people, and you seem to do it all the time." He goes, "But you don't seem to do it because you get anything out of it. I've never been able to figure out your angle." He goes, "But it took me a while, but I realized that's what you get out of it. You love just having a part and helping others in any way, whether you get anything out of it or not." And that's when I realized that I love connecting people. I've always been I know a guy. I love connecting people with other people to help them. And I almost never think about or realize or recognize or care whether there's like a long-term win for me or anything, because for me, the win is that connection of them, helping them be better and helping them chase. When my wife was pregnant with our first child, I was super nervous. If you've had a child, you know the thoughts that go through your mind about how you're not prepared. How are you ever going to raise a kid? And a mentor of mine told me not to worry. And I figured, well, he's got a couple kids. He probably knows. So why shouldn't I worry? And he said, because you're patient. You're one of the most patient people I've ever met. And you always see the good in people. You always see the potential in them. It's like you're going to see that potential in your child more than you've ever seen it in anyone. And you're going to work patiently with them to elevate them to that potential. And as I say that, I'm thinking that's probably why I use the word elevate a lot, is because that mentor said that to me. And I thought about that. And I thought back to when I was at Arby's, and my manager there used to always tell me, "Man, you are going to be a heck of a dad one day because you're patient." And he used to tell me there's so many instances where I recognized something in someone that he maybe didn't. And we loved that because that was a skill that I had. So he leaned into that. He helped me elevate myself to use my strength of recognizing potential in people and having the patience to work with them. So I learned that I was pretty patient, and I always saw the potential, I always saw the good in people. When I was in college, I really struggled. Um, and it took me a long time to figure out why I struggled. I used to say that I used to kind of just attribute it to me being immature, me wanting to be an entrepreneur, whatever it might be. But I really figured out late as I've gotten into the education industry over the last 7 years and really looked and reflected on how education works and how students' minds work. I figured out for me, I was a really early adapter to sites like Ask Jeeves and Lycos and Yahoo and even YouTube when it came along and things of that nature. I figured out really quick. Um, that I learn things much faster playing around with them versus just being told or shown. And I'm not saying I'm not like a handy guy. I'm not great with my hands as far as like fixing cars and machines, stuff like that. That's not me. That's not a talent I've ever really gotten or that's come naturally to me. But when it comes to like technology and in that type of stuff for concepts, playing around with it, making mistakes, and kind of digging for that information myself has always worked so much better for me, and I've enjoyed it so much more than being shown. And so when I went to college, I used to get frustrated because I could just ask Jeeves or eventually use Google or later use YouTube, and I'd get to the conclusion and get to where I needed to be so much faster. I learned that I not only preferred to learn this way, but I really enjoyed learning this way, and I was good at it. I taught myself how to write and code in HTML and CSS so I could start building websites. I taught myself the basics of business and how to set up my LLC and hire my first employee and file taxes on my own, utilizing Google and YouTube. Taught myself the basics of music law and understanding copyrights and royalties and things of that nature, and how to write my own contracts. I actually had them reviewed by law firms who actually refused to believe that I didn't have another lawyer write them. But I learned this really on because I learned that I enjoyed learning this way. And when you enjoy learning something that way, you do it much more, and therefore you get better at it. Prior to my current business, I had started an online marketing firm. I did websites, SEO, social media, etc. And during that time, I really, really bought into and leaned completely into the idea of helping versus selling. I focused all of my attention on helping my clients and people that I might be able to help, not selling them on my services, not pricing my services high. It allowed me to work with a lot more clients because they were smaller, but they were much smaller level. My revenue was much lower than what it could have been. I took free meetings all the time, typically coffee shops where I bought the coffee. I gave away my advice all the time for free. I didn't hold anything back. I didn't do give them the ingredients, not the recipe. I gave them everything. I probably left a lot of money on the table. In fact, I know I left a lot of money on the table, but I didn't care, and I still don't care. Because the small businesses that I was helping, that's what I did it for. I was helping them chase something. I was playing a part of helping them chase what they're doing and do some good. You see, I realized through all these stories and all these experiences, I realized that I didn't need to be the goal scorer or the face of the band, the lead singer, or the leader of the store, or build some big multi-million-dollar agency. I just wanted to know that I was helping, making an impact, assisting others, and chasing their dreams and doing good. So now I'm the COO of a company that I co-founded. We work with teachers and school districts all around the world to help them improve their crafts so they can reach more students and increase student success. I'm responsible for things like building relationships and partnerships for our brand and collaborations. That's my connections. It's my love of connections. I'm responsible for managing our team and helping grow our team and find the right people that see where we want to go and that work together and create a team that can excel at the things that we want to excel at. That takes time. It takes a lot of seeing and believing in people and helping teachers, because the majority of our people are teachers, so helping them realize that they do have potential to be more than just a teacher, and working with them and understand that it takes time. That's my ability to see potential and the patience. I'm also responsible for building and guiding all, or at least most, of our systems and the routines and the processes for how we do things and how we scale and how we grow and how we adjust. That comes from me being able to teach myself anything I need to know. And I'm also responsible for us to continue to build the brand with the principles that we initially founded the brand on, what we've grown on, which is keeping us focused on the idea of helping versus only focusing on the numbers. That's the need to help and to help others do good. You see, I didn't go to a Google search of what does a COO do to figure out my role. I looked at my strengths and my weaknesses and those on the team, and we played to those strengths. We assisted each other with our strengths so that we can elevate our strengths. And it was through focusing on my strengths and leaning into my strengths that we figured out that, oh yeah, you're kind of like the chief operating officer, so let's call you COO. It was through self-awareness that I found my place in this company that we created and the best role for me to be here so that I can best help our team grow and do what we do. And that's why I believe self-awareness is the key to being the best at your job when it comes to supporting others and assisting others to be the best at their job. So how do we gain this self-awareness? And listen, I told you, I just shared a few different stories and a few different ways that I've gained this self-awareness for myself. But here's the catch. I didn't pick up on this typically in that moment right after things happened, right after someone said something. That's not when I picked up on those. I've reflected back. It's been all years of me reflecting back going, oh yeah, that's right. John said that one time. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, my boss at Arby's was John, and the mentor I mentioned was also a different John. And John said this or that or whatever, and I reflected on why do I enjoy the work I'm doing so much, and that's how I came to this self-awareness, and now it allows me to be better at what I do. So this might sound silly or corny or like even just super simplistic. One of the most powerful tools is simply reflecting, thinking through, when have you been the happiest? When have you felt the most fulfilled? When do you feel good at work? When do you not feel good at work? Take some time for yourself and reflect on that. Jot down all the things you can think of, the times that you felt good, the times that you felt successful, the times that you felt fulfilled, the times that you were happy at work, the times that you were proud at work. And then see if you can find the patterns, the connections. Something you might want to try doing is actually using sticky notes or note cards or a digital version of that, and write down all these instances on there and do that, and then you lay them out and you start categorizing to figure out what is it going to. Well, this is when I was, when I'm supporting others in this area, or when I'm doing this type of project or this type of work, and you start to see these patterns and figure out, oh, so this is kind of telling me that I enjoy this part, right? I enjoy digging in and figuring out systems and routines. Okay, interesting. And then you can think through, do I really enjoy that? Does this sound fun? Yeah, actually, I love doing it. I love Googling stuff and going on YouTube and learning new things and coming up with creative ideas for the solutions to the problems that we have. Then maybe that's the route you need to go. So take the time, reflect on those things when you feel the happiest, when you feel most fulfilled, when you feel good at work, and see if you can find the patterns. Another crucial step, and sometimes very uncomfortable, is to seek feedback from others. Ask the people that are close to you, both at work and in your personal life. Ask them to give you feedback. What do you feel my strengths are? Are there anything that you see me doing that seem to cause me challenges or that I seem to struggle with? What do you think my passions are? What do you think would be a perfect role for me? When do you see me get upset? When do you see me get frustrated? When do you see me get stressed out? A couple things when you're asking these questions, people. One, take them all, jot down all the answers, record them all, do the same process that you do with your self-reflection. See if you can position them and find the patterns to the answers that people are giving you. Prior to that, a big piece is that you need to anticipate the nice answers. People who care about you are gonna try not to hurt your feelings. So you may have to push them a little bit and push them to give you those harsh truths. And be sure not to take those harsh truths personally. Take them and use them to understand yourself better. Accepting criticism really means removing that emotion, so that's really important. So go through that. And then one last tool that I'll share with you is something you've probably heard of, and we use it as our company as a reflection on projects that we do and events that we have and things of that nature. And that's called the start, stop, and continue exercise. It's pretty simple. There's a lot of ways you can look at it, a lot of things you can do in reflection, right? And that's to ask yourself 3 questions. So you're going to ask yourself these 3 questions. What do I need to start doing? What should I stop doing or work toward doing less often? And what should I continue doing? What is working? So I'm sharing a document here. It's just a PDF, really simple, with 3 columns for you to jot down all the answers to these questions. And that is just to jot down. So all the things that you need to start doing, what are the things that you're not doing that you really should consider doing, right? And then all the things that you need to stop doing. What are the things that aren't working, that are causing you stress, that are causing you frustration? And then what should I continue doing? What are the things that you're doing that you should continue doing, or maybe doing more often and really pushing into and leaning into? And so you can do the similar thing here again, as you did with all your self-reflection pieces and your feedback from others, is look through all these things and see if you can find any kind of pattern amongst the things that you should start doing, amongst the things that you should stop doing, amongst the things that you're doing well. And you use all three of these things to come together, and do you see patterns that are telling you what you enjoy, what you're good at, what brings you passion, what brings you fulfillment? And that's how you get to that self-awareness. Now, is this going to happen overnight? No. Is it going to happen the first time you do this? Probably not. Put this into practice. This is something that I do for myself. I walk through all three of these different exercises. They're very simple. They don't require like any tech. You can use pieces of paper. I use my iPad, and Notability is what I do it in. And I do these at least twice a year, so at least every 6 months. So typically do them in June, July. It's a really good point for me because the end of July is my birthday, so I'm like kind of in that mindset of reflecting on life, right? And then I do it towards the end of the year because I'm already in the mindset of like reflecting on the year and goal setting. So great times to do these types of strategies and think through it. But utilize these and really be honest with yourself, get that honest feedback, and dive into these things. And I think it'll help you find and become more aware of the things that bring you joy and that you're good at and help you lift others up. Now, one thing I want to note is to please avoid the common mistake of focusing on your weaknesses. And we talked about weaknesses, and you can still work to strengthen those weaknesses. There's a lot of opportunities for wins in that, but focus on your strengths and your harmony with others. And so that's the last thing I'd like to leave you with today. Find your harmony within your organization. In music, harmony is when all the parts come together to form that intended outcome of the song that delivers a certain message or triggers a specific emotional response. In our work life, in our organizations, harmony is when everyone is on the same page, working toward the same goal, supporting each other with the same purpose, assisting each other, and elevating our strengths. Now, I don't know whether you set out to be a personal assistant or if you sort of stumbled into your role, but I hope that you find a way in which you help create that harmony within your organization. And when you find that, lean into it. Then support others and help them find their harmony. Assist them in elevating their strengths so that you can all be the best versions of yourself, which will create the best version of your organization.